We are a couple of hours away from potentially Rishi Sunak becoming the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. The only person who may stand in his way is a lady called Penny Mordaunt. She does not, at this stage, have the 100 members of the Conservative Party that need to take this to a vote of members, but by the end of the week there will be a new Prime Minister, most likely at this stage, as I say, Rishi Sunak, who's got about half of all Conservative MPs saying they want him to be the leader. The one I want to be the leader of the UK is Nigel Farage, the former Brexit leader, GB News host at flashnews.com.au. So, great man, let's deal with this. Who is Rishi Sunak? What's he really like?
Very, very rich. He and his wife, in Australian dollar terms, would be worth about $1.5 billion. They've got a lovely, great big outdoor swimming pool, which they keep heated when most people can't afford to heat their homes. Now, I'm not saying we should be anti-rich, successful people, but he's so rich, he's so detached, he's very, very dull. There's not even a spark of humour. You know, I'm all for people being teetotal, but you know, I cannot imagine Rishi Sunak going into a working man's club in the red wall constituencies, which gave the Tories their majority, and being able to connect with another human being. So lifeless, dull, boring, doesn't connect with ordinary folk. You can kiss goodbye to the red wall Conservative Party. You are done.
Now, what I must say is that I have been surprised in modern politics that he hasn't played the race card, at least publicly here. It is going to be a change, of course, from the type of person who ends up being Prime Minister. Does that unlock anything for the Conservative Party, potentially, when the person they're going up against with Keir Starmer and Labor is very much what politicians used to look like in the UK?
Well, look, you know, the Labour Party are obsessed, completely obsessed with identity politics. We all have to be put into a box. You know, we've all got to be black or lesbian or trans or, I don't know, goodness knows what else.
Maybe all of those things.
Truth is, well, possibly, you know, on a good day. You
That's
know.
the jackpot.
But the truth is, the truth is, most people couldn't care less.
Yeah.
The British people are the least prejudicial group of people you will ever come across, despite what we're constantly told about ourselves. And they will judge individuals on their merits, not on their skin colour. So I don't think it plays any relevance at all. And it is, to be fair, to Sunak's credit, that he never, ever mentions it. Good for him, at least on that score.
Yeah, I agree. So, look, my guess is he's going to be the great globalist. You'll see the pound go up by a couple of cents because the market know they've got their guy. He'll do everything he can to delay what's left in terms of Brexit. He'll be arm in arm with Joe Biden, all the rest of it here. This is very much an establishment guy, right?
Oh, 100%. It'll be net zero. It'll be the highest tax burden in Britain since 1950, which will keep going up. It'll be the same failed economic model. The Channel crisis will continue, and we'll be told that it's stability. Well, if stability and a continuum of failures of the last 12 years of Conservative rule are what they want, well, jolly good for them. They can all go to their gentlemen's clubs tonight and they can all relax over a large gin and tonic and think the world's fine. It is not. And it's extraordinary because the Labour Party, led by Sir Keir Starmer, who, again, is pretty lifeless, can't even answer the question of, you know, what is a woman, and yet they're being handed the next general election literally on a plate. And the truth of it is, as soon as we get a change to the electoral system in this country, then things will start to break apart. Then we'll start to get some proper Conservative views represented in Parliament. But until that time, we're stuck. And think what a mess we're in. I saw a lovely tweet this morning. The guy said, my son, in his lifetime, has seen 4 Chancellors of the Exchequer, 3 Home Secretaries, 3 Prime Ministers and 2 monarchs. He's 4 months old.
Wow. Now, something that I loved was when you went to a pub last week and you went to hardcore Conservative territory to do your show, which I loved. And people very obviously were saying, well, mate, you're the answer. Why don't you put yourself on the ballot? Well, as you've just pointed out, it's first past the post. So if you get 10, 15, 20% of the vote, the problem is you don't get preferences, which means you don't end up getting the seat. So you can waste a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of not false hope for people, but people having this real want for change but no ability to deliver it. So Where does Nigel Farage go in the next 2 years? Do you spend that time trying to change a system that Team Red and Team Blue won't change? Where does Farage put himself in this sort of bland world that needs a change?
Well, the first most important thing is we have to have a broadcast media voice that gives vent to these opinions, and GB News does that. I am going to be continually pushing the argument that we need to have a degree of proportionality. As you say, you have a preferential system which does allow other voices into the Australian Parliament. So that's very, very important. And I'm going to be going out around the country doing my stuff. I'm going to be writing articles. I'm going to be, keeping in touch with my 3.5 million followers across social media. I will go on, battling and fighting for change if we got to the point where some other senior, well-known household name said, let's give this a go, well then fine, we give it a go. But really, I've got to wait. I now have got to wait for a change in that system. Just think about this. I mean, I won 2 national elections, the 2014 and the 2019 European elections. I mean, nobody's ever won 2 national elections leading 2 different parties. But when it comes to a general election, I led UKIP into 2015, 4 million votes and 1 seat in Parliament. So, it's not necessarily how much people agree with you. It's not necessarily how popular you are. The system under which you live makes a very, very big difference.
Well, and remember when they said the idea of breaking away from the UK was impossible? This man can start an idea, light a fire and change the world. That's why we love talking to you, mate. Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you, Paul.
Nigel Farage joining us from the UK. His show is on GB News, which is available at flashnews.com.au, along with Sky News and lots of other news platforms.